What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another MD Fish Tanks build video. So behind me is my Blue Dream shrimp tank that I had set up for about a month now. It is just a temporary setup, so the plan was always to do a nice scape for them as well. And we are now at a point where we can do that, so let's crack right on with the build. So one of the first things that I need to do is actually take everything out of the tank and put it into a bucket. That includes the plants, the soil, the aqua soil, you know, even that leaf and that moss ball, and including the filter. I need to keep the sponge filter running so that it's basically everything there is now in a bucket that I don't have in front of me. Anyway, that doesn't matter. I'll get a bucket, but let's just put it all in now. Right, there we go. Nice empty aquarium. Love it. This is the exciting part. So I've kept the soil down here in the bucket. The sponge filter is ticking away there with the water that was in the aquarium and all the plants. The shrimp are up here, all doing absolutely fine. They'll be fine in there whilst we're doing the build. But the first thing I want to do is get some media in some bags. These are the bags I'm talking about here. So these are all made of plastic, even the zip's plastic, so there's no danger of any sort of, you know, rusting or anything like that. I want to put lava rock and the aqua soil in this bag. The reason is I want to put sand in the aquarium. Like, I want a different look, so we haven't just got aqua soil all the time, but I still want to keep the soil contained. Now I know that if I don't keep it contained and just put it underneath the sand, the shrimp will get it out. It'll come forward, it'll get annoying, increase maintenance time, all that. We don't want any of that. So we're going to put it all in the bags and just lay it on the bottom first. So yeah, we've got crushed lava rock in this one, we've got aqua soil in this one, mix them together in the bags and then we're sorted. So the reason for the media in the bags is for two reasons actually. One, it adds height to the back, which means we don't have to use an absolute ton of sand to fill it out. Two, it stops the sand compacting, and well, there's three reasons, all right? Three is extra sort of surface area for beneficial bacteria, and this will just make the tank even more healthy because the filtration is only going to be one of these little sponges like you see in this tank, and it's not huge surface area, is it? But we've created a ton more now and height, and you know, it's going to work perfect. But let's get our sand in, and I've got quite a lot to choose from. I don't know, I think I'm going to go for more sort of a whiter sand. So this 𝗯𝘂𝗀𝗶𝗲𝗀𝗀, that's a quite good one. I like that. I think we'll go with that. So that's quite a steep angle, but that's going to give us sort of a depth look to the tank, and also more substrate to be able to plant into as well, because I want to actually plant it in some areas. I want to keep it clean in the foreground and clear, to be honest, and I'll probably make a border so that it's like separate to the back, and then have the nice little dish that we've got here. You can see, well, you can't really see it because it's being surrounded by that hair grass, but I've got like these cute little dishes that I can put in for the shrimp to feed in, so I want to have that in the foreground. But we'll just see. Hardscape wise, I want to go for Sirius stone. Yeah, so we got a nice good selection here. I mean, some of these bits are quite big, but maybe we should just go for it. I'm going to stick some in and see how it looks. I might need to break some up, I might not. Let's just have a go. Well, that is quite bold, but I really like it. I did actually just shove it in there just to see, you know, roughly where, if it would fit for size, and then I just plonked it down and stepped back like now. But look at that. That looks really good. I don't want it on its own. Maybe another small one that way, and one that maybe. I just, you know, a few smaller ones. I'm not even sure yet. I just keep going. Just keep going. Yeah, I really like that. So this rock is slightly different sort of colour, but not something I'm going to worry about. It'll all get a sort of, you know, just dusting of algae anyway. Kind of like these rocks in here, you can see they've all got that sort of greeny tone to them, which I really like. It looks awesome. But the reason I've gone for the whiter substrate on this, well, it's an off-white if you like, is because the blue dream shrimp were getting sort of darkened out on the dark substrate, so I couldn't even see a lot of them. Apparently they do go darker on darker substrate as well, so now that I've got the light one, they're going to be like proper vibrant and blue. Now I've only put those 3 stones in there. Obviously I don't want to do more than that, because in nano tanks you can very quickly just start sort of putting way too much in, and before you know it, it can just look a bit of a mess. But that's nice and simple. I like that. So we've got 2 going in one direction and then 1 in the opposite direction. That's enough. We don't need any more. I want to put loads of different like plants and that all around this as well, so it should look pretty cool. I might build up that back area a little bit more though, only because I don't want like dead zones behind there. There will be some dead zones obviously, but if I build it up a little bit higher, I'll also be able to see around there more. Actually, can I see around anyway this way? Oh yeah, I can see all the way around. That's awesome. Okay, yeah, no need. I'll just leave it as it is, and it just gives more space then for the stem plants to grow. But currently, obviously, there is no nutrients in this gravel. It's just, or sand. It's a coarse sand, fine gravel. There's no nutrients for any plants to grow, so we need to put some root tabs in. Nice and simple, just push it in under the gravel to as low as you can go, wherever you're going to be putting plants. Now, I don't know where I'm going to be putting plants, so I'm just going to put it everywhere and just hope for the best. Right, that's looking great. I'm just going to fill it up with water now and just get planting straight away like that. I don't want to put loads of stems in that flop over. I can't see how they're looking. I want to fill it up and get planted straight away. Obviously, I'll leave a little bit of a gap so that I can actually put my hands in without it all overflowing. I don't usually do it this way, but I just want to give it a go. Let's try another way and hopefully it'll look good straight away. And you know what? I might as well just put the filter in as well, and just that way we know where it's going to be when we're planting and there'll be space for it. Right, that's all bubbling away. I'll let that all clear a bit because it's gone a bit misty because I disturbed it a little. But yeah, we'll come back and plant it once it's clear. It'll look better then. Don't know why I'm saying that, because the second I put something in, it's going to create dust anyway. But it's okay, it's okay. So it is now the next day since we filled it up. The water's crystal clear. Oh, all the lights are coming on. It's very early in the morning, you see. That you probably tell from my voice. But yeah, now looking at the tank, I think I want to add some details to it, just give it a bit more of a natural look. So yeah, look, we've got some really nice clean lines. The filter fits nicely, working away, purifying the water, or making it look perfectly clean anyway. But this foreground's a little bit too clean. I do want it to be clear in the foreground, like right there, but maybe I'm going to add some detailed stones around all these rocks, just some small pebbles that sort of have got that greyish look. And I can do that by selecting something from here, one of these maybe. We've got some denelay sort of chippings and different gravels and that. I'll have a little look and then we'll put some in. So in this bag down here, I've actually got like a mix of a ton of old different pebbles and completely different sizes in here. And I think that will work really well. Yeah, I'm just gonna put it in. So obviously the best thing would have been to have done this yesterday before I filled it up, but you know, you live and learn. Okay, not my greatest of ideas, but I'll just do a quick water change with some dechlorinated water so we don't affect the filter. Remember, the filter's cycled, so we don't want to just be putting chlorine-filled water in. That would just destroy any beneficial bacteria that's colonized on it. But also, I want to be able to see what I'm doing, so let's just get that water out, put it back in again. Okay, there we go. Yeah, a little bit fuzzy, but that's more sort of bubbles in the water than actual floating particles, but that's absolutely fine. It's going to get a bit stirred up as we plant anyway. I don't know why I'm doing it like this, by the way, but I just want to try something different so I can literally see how it's going to be straight away, rather than, you know, planting and then filling up and being like, oh, that's all there, that's all, you know. I just want to try it this way and just see. So the first thing I want to do is start getting some of the foreground started before I move on. Again, this is backwards. Normally I start at the back and come forward, but all the details are at the front here. I really like how this has turned out, actually, to be honest. Looks so natural, doesn't it? It looks like a little outcrop you'd find like near the beach or something. Oh, beautiful. So there's 3 of the plants that I want to use in sort of the foreground. 𝗶𝗲𝘀𝗀𝘀𝗀 erectus. Now this is actually quite a tall plant, but you can keep it short quite easily. It doesn't grow massively fast, especially with no CO2 or anything, or, you know, I'm not using massively high lighting either. Then we've got 𝗯𝘂𝗾𝗀𝗀𝘀 next to it. I've always struggled with this plant, but hopefully we can get some success in this tank. And then this one at the end here, 𝗶𝗲𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝘀. Anyway, that stays nice and small, and it's all sort of like carpets, a bit like 𝗯𝘂𝗾𝗀𝗀𝘀 when you trim it and then you can replant it and trim it and replant it and trim it and replant it, and then you just cover the whole bottom. So these are the 1-2 range from Tropica. Basically there's no pests or anything like that in them, and they're just like, they're like baby versions of the plant, if you like. And I've always found that if you use the 1-2 in new setups, they adapt really well. Sometimes potted plants can melt back and that, but these never seem to for me, so yeah, give them a go. Plus their small size also means that they're going to suit this scape really well. And there we go, look, just a little couple of hints of the 𝗯𝘂𝗀𝗀𝘀𝗀, and that's enough really, because obviously it's small scape. Before you know it, you're going to fill it up anyway. So moving on now, we're going to put the 𝗶𝗲𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝘀, yeah. Okay, looking good, looking good. Right, next up, we got some Liliopsis brasiliensis and 𝗲𝘾𝗾𝘀𝗀𝘀𝗀 green. I'm getting good at this. So the reason I'm adding more is because these are sort of like finer, shooty plants, if you like, whereas these are more stumpy. So I want to just mix it up a little bit, get it in and amongst it, just to add a little bit more detail, that's all. Yeah, I've just realised now is actually a really good time to put the shrimp bowl in, so just to make sure I don't cover up that space with any plants. So the reason we put a bowl in is so that when we feed the shrimp we can see how much they've eaten, and then we can remove what they haven't eaten very quickly and easily just with a turkey baster. So just put it in, suck it out of that bowl, job done. If it's all in the substrate and falling in amongst it and in plants, then you're not going to catch it all, are you? But with this you can catch all of it, which is why, for instance, in this tank, look, if you look down in that little one, there's no food at all because I've sucked it all out, ready for their next feed. And this is just because shrimp can be quite sensitive, and you know, water volume in this tank isn't a massive amount. It's a really weird way of saying that. There's not a lot of water in this tank, so it can be quite easily fouled. So we can just make sure basically we're taking out any waste. But I think that's a really good amount for the foreground plants. Remember, all this stuff's going to grow really quickly, so I don't want to just fill it right out instantly and not have any progress to watch. And now moving on to stem plants for the back of the tank. Again, stem plants are really good for small setups, purifying the water when you haven't got a ton of, you know, filtration. Plants are nature's filter. They work so good. I mean, all of my tanks are pretty much filtered nowadays, but I could probably, for instance, with this tank here, I could probably take out it's an 𝗲𝘂𝗀𝘀𝗀𝘀, but if I took out that 250, it would probably be absolutely fine. You might get a little bit of haze to the water, but in terms of water chemistry, it wouldn't be affected at all with the bioload that we've got in there, which is these 𝗲𝘾𝗾𝗀𝘀𝗀𝘀, which are thinking that I'm about to feed them, and I'm not, because it's very early still. Night time. Now we definitely need some red in this tank, so if you come over to my better sorority tank, Over here, look, we've got some really nice 𝗯𝘂𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀, which is just starting to get to the point now in height where it will soon be properly red from the light. So the closer it goes to the surface or the light source, the redder it will get. Just like these red root floaters you can see on the surface here, which are gorgeous. Hello fella. But yeah, I'm going to do some trimming and take some of those. Again, it means that these will grow more compact and more shoots. Every time you trim a stem plant, 2 shoots come up. So we're actually making it more. So I was watching some Aquascape tutorials on Green Aqua channel actually, and one of the, I think it was Josh Sim, who said that if you've got something impactful, it needs to sort of go on both sides. So that's why I've added in the 𝗯𝘂𝘀𝗀𝗀, that side and that side, just a little hint of it. And I think that'll look really good, especially with the greenery that I'm going to have swooping over the background. Now, if you notice in my other tanks, I've obviously got clumps of plants like that one and that one. Now they're all sort of held together at the bottom with a bit of you know, weight and filter floss. So this one originally had some in. There's some down here in the bucket, and I just took one apart because I don't want to use the 𝗯𝘂𝘀𝗀𝗀𝗀 in this one because it's quite sort of but so I've taken out some of the 𝗯𝘂𝘀𝗀𝘀𝗀s. Now they're quite long, so I'm going to get them all to correct size. It's a mix of 𝗯𝘂𝘀 green and 𝗯𝘂𝘀𝘀 rotundifolia, and they're already so healthy, and they'll just get the tank off to a flying start. They've got beneficial bacteria all over them to help colonize the new tank. We'll be adding beneficial bacteria as well anyway, so but yeah, you always reuse old plants if they're healthy and good. Like, look at that one. Like, why would you not use that? It looks so good. So there's the rotundifolia bunches in. They're looped over slightly weird at the moment, but that's just how they were in the tank previously. They were obviously bent, I don't know really, but they'll straighten out. It only takes like a day or two for them to straighten out, and they'll be looking great. But now that can't be it. We need one more fine textured green for the background, and I've got just the plant. It is over here in the tank storage plant. This is going to be a really cool scape at some point soon, but for now it's holding plants for me. A lot of plants, as you can see. This is the one I want. It's what's it called? Hang on, let me look it up. Milfoil, that's what it's called. So it grows crazy fast, so I'm gonna have to keep up on it, like, because very quickly it can like triple in size in like a week. But it's really vibrantly green, really nicely fine textured as well, and you know, just super easy plant. I haven't actually seen it that often. I've only seen it in the last few months, and I just grabbed it and was like, wow, this is great. Why don't we see this more often? But yeah, loving it. So there's just one more thing I want to add before we're done, and that's some floating plants. I might take them out at a later date, but to start with, it's going to be really good at keeping the nutrient levels down and just keeping a flood of algae away. Algae will build up like it does on this tank on the sides, which is good. That's what we want for the shrimp, but it just stops all the rocks and the gravel, the diatom, all of that. It will just help massively just to start with. The floating plants I'm going to use are over here. So in this is like a sort of black watery sparkling gourami tank I've made. Hello fella. Look how good they look, so sparkly. That's why they call them sparkly gouramis. Sparkly gouramis? No, sparkling gouramis. Hello, sparkly gouramis. Anyway, I am after the 𝗯𝘂𝘀𝘀𝗀𝗀 that's floating on the top. There's not a huge amount there because I fished a load out and actually put them down in this bucket. So I'm going to take them from there and then put them on the surface. And there we go, look, that's going to massively help to start with. And they're cute little floating plants as well. They don't get massive long sort of roots that go all the way deep into the water. Like frogbit, that I've actually pulled that because it was so long. Whereas the 𝗯𝘂𝘀𝘀𝗀𝗀, it doesn't seem to do that. It just keeps it sort of about that length we've got now to an inch. Yeah, ideal. Right, that's it. I think we're ready to rock and roll and get the shrimp in their new tank. So I've just transferred the shrimp over and they're now doing laps in this jug. It's like the Shrimp Olympics. Anyway, let's put them in. That seemed to go really well. Everyone's sort of strolling around. They already look good. They just look good. Oh, love them, love them. So one of the things I need to do now that I didn't do last time when I did a rescape was add beneficial bacteria. You need to get it straight in. I'm going to do it every single day for a week, and I'm going to double the dose because why not? So another thing that I'm going to add in is some 𝗶𝗃. This is basically something that creates a biofilm on everything. The tiniest of little amounts goes in now, and that should do the trick. And there we go, we're all set up, ready to go. I think it looks great. It just needs time now to grow in. I'm going to stay on top of the maintenance, the trimming, the replanting. It's going to look absolutely fantastic in no time at all. Notice, guys, that I also put the snails back in. Some people are like, I hate snails. Always use snails in your tank. Snails are amazing. Like, don't worry about them like breeding too much. The population, it sort of limits itself based on the amount of waste food that's available. So if you don't overfeed your tank, you just won't get a ton. So this tank had been set up for like 2 months. If you notice, I only had about 6-7 snails in there, and they're ram's horn snails and bladder snails, which are renowned for breeding massively. So just goes to show, don't overfeed and you won't get a like massive population increase in snails. And then they can just carry on doing their job really well.